Divorce can be an extremely painful thing, not just for the kids, but divorce can be a painful thing for both of you. And so if you're a husband or a wife and you're about to go through a divorce, maybe in a divorce or just after a divorce, you might be thinking, well, life sucks. I don't like the fact that this happened, but I'm just going to shoulder on and I'll be all right. But interestingly, that doesn't always occur. I have a friend with me here today. This is Mark Highland. He works with me here at Marriage Helper. He's a friend and a colleague. Mark, we did a program that I hope people go and look for on YouTube about how your parents' divorce affected you. But we wanted to do another segment, a very special segment right here, just the two of us, about your mom didn't deal well with that.
No, she did not.
No, we're going to get to a point about that, and this is not going to be a real long video, so just stay with us for a few minutes if you will. And before we get to the point, though, can you tell me, how did it affect her, the divorce? How did it affect your mom?
So my mother, post-divorce, never remarried. And that was her choice. As always, we tell people consistently, you have the right to make your own decision.
Right.
With that being the case, she never even dated. She never even thought about it. And I respect her for her decisions.
Sure, right.
And what she chose to do.
Mm-hmm.
The unfortunate side is she never dealt with the hurt that she felt the right way.
The hurt meaning the feelings of abandonment, of not being lovely or lovable.
I'm not good enough.
All those kinds of things.
I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel liked.
I've been rejected. I've been abandoned.
Yes.
And because she didn't get the right kind of help to help her deal with that, how did it affect her over the years?
So my mother is now 81. Lives with my sister, and she's taking care of her. And I'm incredibly thankful for that. My father passed away back in the spring. I've always said that if my father were to walk in the door today, she would still take him back, because that is how much she never dealt with her pain.
Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things here for a minute, because that's sad. I mean, I feel pain for your mother, because that's sad. But you understand that when people go through a feeling of rejection, and which is, unless I'm the one who's doing divorcing because I'm leaving for something or someone else, then I'm probably not the one experiencing that. But the one who is being left, the one who's being abandoned, often will feel, what's wrong with me? And we get that asked question a lot. People say, what's wrong with me? Why can't my husband or my wife love me? Why would he or she pick somebody else, or a different lifestyle? Or we get it asked a ton of different ways. But it definitely affects people. Mark, we teach in our workshop, and therefore I'm not going to go into it elaborate here, but we teach in our workshop that there's a difference between being independent, interdependent, and dependent. The quick, short version of that is independent people really have no relationship with you, and if you cease to exist or go away, it doesn't affect them.
Right.
People who are dependent are people who I find part of my self-esteem in you, and I fear that my life will not be whole or good or whatever I want it to be if you're not here. And therefore, if you cease to exist or go away, they go into tremendous pain and sometimes will actually shut down. Now, interdependent is between the two. I am an independent human being who can exist and do well even if you cease to exist or go away, but I have chosen to be dependent upon you. Now, I'm going to assume, because I only met your mother once, and that was at your father's funeral, but I'm going to assume that she had more of a dependent kind of relationship with Dad?
More so, I would say that it was bordering on the interdependent and dependent. Later in life, she did get herself back on her feet. She did care for herself financially very, very well.
Good.
She did take care of the household and moved on as an independent person.
So she didn't cease to function.
She didn't cease to function.
But the way she felt about herself, her lovability?
She felt consistently rejected, and does to this day. She is constantly very self-conscious about what other people say to her, or how it's perceived, or am I really loved? Do you really like me? Is a consistent theme that we hear. I don't want to be a burden for you, so therefore I don't want to be here because you don't want me here.
And over the years, how's that affected her?
So my mother, who is now 81, as I mentioned, Obviously, when we grow older, we lose some of our faculties. Would that be a safe assumption?
I already relate to that.
Okay. Okay. So, with that being the case, she's dealing with some Parkinson's. She's also dealing with some Alzheimer's. In that, she's lost quite a bit of her short-term memory. The conversations I have with her now are consistently the same questions over and over.
I understand.
Okay? Her long-term memory, though, pretty good. It's pretty good.
So back to the divorce and all those kinds of things.
What do you think she remembers most?
Being abandoned? Is infidelity? What?
Yeah, being rejected.
Being rejected. And so how does that affect her viewpoint of the world, her happiness, all those kinds of things?
She is a very bitter person to this day.
All right. So what point do you want these people to understand? Okay, we fight hard to help people save their marriages. We'll do everything we can to help that. But sometimes it's going to end, no matter what you do. Now, we can't save your marriage for you, of course. The things we do is we give you the right resources and tools and hope that you can then figure out how to save your marriage and make it good again. But even in that, we accept the reality that it's not always going to happen.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So if you are the person who has been abandoned, if you will, the person that didn't want the divorce that had occurred, Mark, based on the experience with your mom, what is your message to these folks?
My very strong message is to work on yourself, make yourself a priority physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, so that you continue to grow and you continue to understand where you are as a person. Get the right help to deal with your feelings of loss, your feelings of abandonment, feelings of grief, because when we lose a spouse or we lose a child or anything
that's
we're
important to us.
dealing with grief.
That's right.
We have some great resources for those who are grieving as well.
But when a person says, I'll be okay, I'll get over it, that's always a possibility.
It is a possibility.
But what you have seen and what we see a lot is that for some people, it really is going to require some help to do this.
Right. It does require help.
And it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean anything other than, I think if I were going through that right now, I'd be looking for help.
Right. In my personal belief, the strongest people I know actually seek help.
Yes.
Because that is moving from a position of strength. It's acknowledging, I'm here. I can't do this all on my own.
Right.
I'm going to need someone in my life to help guide me. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you're actually showing more strength by seeking help than you are by doing it on your own.
I agree wholeheartedly. So if you have been through any kind of loss, but particularly we're talking about now a divorce that, where you now question yourself or worry if you're lovable or likable, those kinds of things, we recommend that you get help. Now, we do have some help for that. If you want to call us, you can call Mark, for example. He's one of our client representatives here at Marriage Helper, and you'll see the number on the screen here. And he can set you up with some of our coaches who can help you think things through, work things through. If you prefer to get a therapist for this, then find a therapist who's really good at helping people deal with grief.
Yes.
Okay? But or if you're religious, your rabbi, your priest, your minister might be able to help you with this if he or she really understands how to help people deal with grief. But the point you're making is, don't wind up all these years later bitter.
Exactly. Exactly.
Deal with the pain
Now, handle what you have within you when you need to handle it,
which is
in
now.
the right way.
Very good. Very good. And Mark, when people say, well, but the pain's still too fresh, this is still too new, you would reply,
Get help now. Quite frankly, I mean, I'm not trying to be trite. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record. I'm truly not.
yeah.
I'm just trying to say, unless you deal with this, it's just going to eat you up from the inside out.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Mark, for being open about your story and your mother's story.
You're welcome.
If you want to contact us, you see the number down there. Call. If you want to talk to Mark, that's fine. You can ask specifically for him. Mark does not do counseling or therapy. Let's make sure you understand his role. Mark is a client representative. He'll help guide you to the right resource we have. And in this particular case, it would probably be one of our coaches. But don't call Mark thinking he's going to be your therapist. That's not your role here.
I don't think you'd want me to do that anyway.
Please, in your pain, we understand. We really do. But please get the help you need. so that it doesn't sabotage your own life down the road. Thank you.